What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and we're back with some more showcase stuff for the Rocks Pirates with Shiki, Big Mom, and Edward Newgate. And this time around, we're going to be going against some arena content with some different hybrid friend captain scenarios. So this first clip here is going to be up against the Mihawk arena. Very interesting piece of content, this one. This is a piece of content where they really want you to have abilities that either negate enemy defensive effects, go through defensive effects, or have a lot of removal. So the really cool way of using some of these new characters and their mechanics is by having the Rocks Pirate set as our captain. We can set enemy Rainbow Shield to 0. And then with our friend captain here of RogerRayGaban, the other debut character, we can also set the threshold to 0. The only other thing that we have to kind of deal with in this content is the enemy increased defense, which is why I put Rob Lucci on the team, who is a powerhouse unit, which does get boosted by the Rocks Pirates, remember. Remember that the Rocks Pirates do boost Strength, Striker, and Powerhouse. However, they give the major buff, like the additional attack boost will be for the Striker class. They give the extra buff to characters of those tags, but, you know, you can still use Strength and Powerhouse units with the Rocks Pirate. That's not a problem. And then RogerRayGaban, even though they give predominant boosts to Int, Slasher, and Striker, they do still give all other characters a buff. So Rob Lucci's still going to be a solid character here, removing the increased defense, and then with the two captains, we can set the enemy's Rainbow Shield and damage threshold to 0. And then with the amount of damage output this team is going to output, it's not going to be a problem against Arena Mihawk. Of course, we can get the set target status with the Rocks Pirates. We can get color affinity boost from RogerRayGaban. And then, of course, the orb boost from Rob Lucci. So this is going to be a ton of damage output here. Unfortunately, not using the EX Super of the two captains, which is a bit... It is a little bit underwhelming not being able to use them, because the abilities, in order to trigger them, you just have to run really obscure characters. So team building wise, it could be a little annoying, unless if you fulfill the other condition of getting the overhealing buff on your team, which there are actually a couple of characters you could put. But, you know, for this team composition here, we ended up putting the Sword Pirate characters, or the Sword character, just to give us some damage on stage 4. But realistically, you could have put Shirahoshi and Mancherry to use their switch effect to generate the EX Super. Probably would be a more efficient way of showcasing the character, but either way, get the job done. Really wanted to see how the two captain effects synergized with each other. Moving on to the second clip, which is arguably the most difficult arena content in the game, which is against Hawkins. The annoying thing is that the sheer amount of attack down in this content kind of forces you to bring either a captain that resists it, or have a lot of special abilities that get around it. Now, in this team concept, we're kind of straying away from the striker-centered effects of the Rocks Pirates. So, of course, we just talked about it, the fact that this character wants to mainly run as many strikers as possible. I mean, they have striker territory as well. But the other thing is they boost powerhouse characters, and the best powerhouse-centered character in the game right now is versus Blackbeard. So I wanted to go ahead and see how this combination would work between these two characters. And it actually worked surprisingly well, and I kind of just forgot how good versus Blackbeard actually was. I know in my tier list video, I ranked Blackbeard a little less than, you know, where he had been over the past few months, mainly due to the fact that we hadn't really received many good characters of the powerhouse class to give him some kind of support. But of course, you got to remember with the fact that now that Versus Law gets some nice support, and also you can technically still use this character with Versus Blackbeard, I mean, the combinations between these two are quite good. Of course, you do miss out on some extra things because, you know, this character is kind of centered around the Striker class, which does kind of suck. But still, Blackbeard has some amazing abilities that synergize very, very well with Rocks Pirates. You know, Rocks being able to give you the orb boost or the set target status. Blackbeard can give you an attack boost. Obviously, the HP guard mechanic that Blackbeard can generate is extremely strong. The Rocks Pirates can also generate an HP guard mechanic. However, the HP guard from Rocks Pirates will only work if you have a full team of strikers. So, of course, that doesn't actually work, but you can technically still get it when you have Blackbeard as the other captain. We're also using this really weird Wild Zoro character, which is an old school free-to-play unit from the Rayleigh's Bazaar. He actually found a really good place on this team, being able to give some cooldown reduction and removal of despair for the final stage. And the rare recruit Aladdin, a character that I hadn't used honestly ever. I had the character on my account. He had max special. He's literally level 150, but he wasn't leveled up at all. So the fact that he had max level limit break and he just was sitting there in my character box, main reason why I wanted to use him is because he just gave us a bit of HP healing so long as we had a Jinbei character as a support. And then we ended up using Memories of Straw Hat Jinbei to give a 70% damage reduction on the final stage, just to ensure that we don't die, because of the way that versus Blackbeard kind of works. You'll end up having like really low HP a lot of the time, so getting that 70% damage reduction was a pretty big deal. And the fact that with the way the team is kind of built, Blackbeard extending the attack boost, will have the attack boost and the orb boost for the final stage, and because of the way that the team works, we can actually activate the Rush Sugo special of Blackbeard on stage, on turn 1 and on the second turn. Now remember, with the way that this character's rush works, it only actually gives an attack boost to striker characters. It actually does not give a buff to Powerhouse, but because we do have some characters that are both striker and Powerhouse on the team, it actually works out quite well in terms of outputting a pretty decent amount of damage. And the HP guard will actually resist any damage that we would have taken from the poison slots as well, so really not a problem at all, and shows a really good combo here with versus Blackbeard. Moving on to the final clip of the video, going to be utilizing one of my other favorite Sugofest exclusives in the game, Legend Uta. So when I first realized that, you know, Rocks Pirates were centered around the striker class, the first character that came to mind honestly was Uta, because her captain ability, even though when you really look at the numbers of the captain ability, it is definitely getting more and more power crept with every month, honestly. Only getting up to a maximum of 5.25 times attack boost is nothing crazy, but the sheer utility that you get from them being able to remove 10 turns of special reverse and paralysis is just such a great combination of abilities. So this combo together, being able to remove the rainbow shield, paralysis, and special reverse is really, really nice. Another thing is that Uta will give you the attack and orb boost for multiple different stages, and even though the Rocks Pirates orb boost is far superior, the fact that they have that reduced redundancy effect where, you know, yeah, you can still rely on Uta for your attack and orb boost, and if you happen to use the Rocks Pirate special, instead of receiving their orb boost that you would get, you get the set target status instead, which is still a really, really good effect. You also get the great orb change, and the other really cool thing about running like striker teams that a lot of people kind of forget about is you get access to the support rare recruit Perispero. I actually don't think he's not really a rare recruit, he's a free-to-play unit, but attaching to any striker, and when a striker character activates their special, lock all slots for 1 turn. Phenomenal ability, being able to have that, especially when you have the Rocks Pirates being able to generate similar slots, which cannot be removed by enemy orb changing as well, which is really good in this use case here, because by using their special, we get those similar slots, and the final stage against Sasaki does have some really annoying orb changing mechanics, and you really do have to have like really good orbs or removal of the enemy effects, which make those slots badly matching for your crew. So luckily for us, we're able to do that by just generating these similar slots and basically relying on half of our team having these slots to do as much damage as possible. Of course, we can't use color affinity on the final stage, which is why we have the Black Maria support on Kaido. But this Kaido, though, being able to generate that super tandem ability every single turn is actually pretty overpowered. It's really, really strong, and partners up very, very well if you're able to activate the HP guard and captain effect of the Rocks Pirates to give you the damage reduction, and then you can get damage reduction based attack boost and the normal attack boost from Kaido's super tandem ability, which of course generates the super tandem boost from the Rocks Pirates. I don't think the super tandem boost is going to be something that comes up that often, but just being able to generate free damage is never a bad thing. So that's going to wrap it up for me, though. Thank you so much for watching this. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And once again, if you guys have pulled the Rocks Pirates, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions about them down below in the comment section. This character's been a ton of fun to use, although we'll probably make a separate video in regards to the overall anniversary and giving my thoughts and opinions on each character now that we've had a bit of time to use them. But Rocks Pirates has definitely been a really, really fun character to use thus far. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
覚悟しろよ。行くぞ野郎ども。ロジャーに続け。